First, he gets his face and throat sliced open with the lid of a tuna can on New Year's Day 2025 at HMP Belmarsh, no less. And at this point, he'd only been there for about 3 weeks. Now, he's the cellmate of serial killer and double whole life order prisoner Levi Belfield up in Frankland prison in County Durham, where Urfan Sharif, because that's of course who I'm talking about, is said to spend all day cowering in his cell, fearing for his totally worthless fucking life. Having been sentenced to a minimum of 40 years for beating his daughter, 10-year-old Sara Sharif, to death after torturing her for years with the help of his whore of a wife and his whore of a brother, 43-year-old Urfan Sharif has since been transferred to his new prison, which is known down on the ground as Monsters Mansion, all thanks to some of the inbred fuckheads who call it home. Wayne Couzens, who, as a serving Metropolitan Police officer, used his police ID to kidnap, rape and murder Sarah Everard. Ian Huntley, who killed the two 10-year-old school friends, Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman, who thought they could trust him when he invited them into his home, as he was the caretaker of their school. And of course, Levi Belfield himself, who murdered 13-year-old Millie Dowler, as well as two young women, Amélie de Lagrange, she was a French lady over in the UK on an exchange programme, and Marsha McDonnell, plus attempting to kill and in fact seriously injuring Kate Sheedy, all because he didn't like blondes. These are just 3 of the monsters currently residing in this non-mansion, or unmansion for instance. Couzens holding the same fate in fact as Belfield. He's going to be in prison until he dies. Ha! Alright, Urfan Sharif might not literally be sharing a cell with Belfield, but they're on the same wing, and honestly, as they both like killing children, I think they should hook up and become BFFs. I mean, just look how much they've got in common. And I'll tell you something else, the two can even hold prayer meetings together. Yeah, prayer meetings, since Levi Belfield, or as he prefers to be known, Yusuf Rahim, who converted to Islam many years ago, never misses even one of his 5 daily prayers. Urfan Sharif is a savage, as I'm about to show by presenting the butchery and savagery that he, his wife and his brother, but especially him, inflicted on his wholly innocent 10-year-old daughter. But first, if you're finding this video compelling so far, do subscribe, do give it a like, drop a comment when you're ready, and donate. Hit the thanks button below, I'll appreciate you. You're 10 years old. You live in a 3-bed house in Woking with your 5 brothers and sisters, your dad, your stepmum and your uncle, and you're the second oldest child. You do things like hiding your dad's keys where the cigarettes are kept and giving your dad a bit of cheek. And in your autopsy, which is carried out in the days following the 8th of August 2023, because you sadly died on that date at the age of 10, the fractures to your hyoid bone, which is in the neck, attest to the many occasions when your father strangled you with force and at length as a punishment for hiding his keys or being cheeky to him or for some other misbehaviour of yours. When, on the 10th of August 2023, your father calls the police from Pakistan and reports in anguished sobs that he battered you to death, he announces to the police that he, quote, legally punished you, unquote. Of the 71 injuries found in the body of Sara Sharif in the course of the girl's autopsy, the injury to her brain that was caused 2 days before her RDER would, it was claimed in court, have killed the 10-year-old within days, even without any further violence from her father, or from her stepmother, or from her uncle. As a result of this trauma to her brain, Sara was, the prosecution said, left in extreme and ongoing pain. The other injury to Sara's brain that was detected, which was caused 10 days before Sara's death, was less severe than the one already mentioned. However, the pathologist said that it no less contributed, like some or many of Sara's other injuries, to Sara's death. As long as you don't unalive someone when you viciously battered them with a metal pole, you are legally punishing them. This, I believe, was what Urfan Sharif, the father of 10-year-old Sara Sharif, whose life he took in an unbridled act of sheer savagery, meant with his words to the police in his phone call to them. Whether the man is or was totally fucking mad or stupid or both, I can only guess at. Sara's 13-year-old brother is most probably how the police know what time on the 8th of August 2023 Sara was beaten to death by her father. The boy had two 7-year-old siblings, twins naturally, a 4-year-old one and a 1-year-old one. The text message that was sent on the day of Sara's unaliving by one of these children to a friend of theirs, which reported that Sara had just died, most probably came, as I say, from the 13-year-old. Our question here isn't just how many of these children saw their father carry his daughter's corpse into the garden, strip it naked, jet wash it with a garden hose, remove the dirty nappy that it had on, and no, I don't know at what point before her death Sara had become incontinent, change it into some clean clothes and then carry it back inside before laying it on a bunk bed. Our question, likewise, isn't just why the prosecution argued that the father must have had help in carrying out that whole post-death cleaning ritual. The uncle, Faisal Malik, who was aged 29 at the time of the trial, October to November 2024, was who, the prosecution claimed, helped the father, 42-year-old Urfan Sharif, clean Sara's body up. The prosecution was, of course, seeking to prove the uncle's accessorial liability in Sara's unaliving. But given that Sara, a 10-year-old girl, was, at the time of her unaliving, little more than a skeleton because she'd been starved, a fact that was proven by an examination of the very bones of her skeleton that was carried out. And given that Urfan Sharif was a man of at least average build, I personally can't see why he wouldn't have been able to do the stripping, the spray cleaning and the redressing of Sara's body all by himself. He denied getting any help with that from his brother as well anyway. Picking up on what part the uncle may have played in Sara's unaliving, our question again isn't just whether he and or the stepmother, 30-year-old Belmarsh Batul, mother of her husband's 4 youngest children, saw the father beating his daughter to death. Our questions, rather, are how much, if any, of Sara's devastating abuse the other children saw, whether they witnessed their sister's unaliving, and it looks like the oldest child possibly did. How many of the other children, if any, were abused by their father or by their mother, stepmother or by their uncle, and why, assuming that whatever abuse, if any, the 5 other children were subjected to in their home was substantially less severe than Sara's own, Sara herself was singled out by her father, her stepmother and her uncle for the devastating campaign of torture and cruelty that she suffered for more than 2 years before her unaliving. Both Sara and the oldest child came from their father's previous marriage to a Polish woman called Olga, who apparently hadn't seen her daughter once in the last 4 years of the girl's life. There's more information about Sara's mother coming up. The stepmother was, I believe, the one behind the 5 bite marks that were found on Sara's left arm and the one that was found on the inside of Sara's left thigh. The dental impressions taken from the father and the uncle didn't match with the human teeth marks that were found on the said parts of Sara's body, you see. We don't know if the stepmother's own teeth are a match with those marks, however, because unlike her husband and her brother-in-law, she wouldn't let her own teeth impressions be taken. This means that no model of her teeth could be made, which means that no forensic comparison between the size and shape of her teeth and the size and shape of the bite marks on Sara's skin could be made. I don't know if the f***ing woman was training for f***ing vampire school or f***ing something. Imaginative and given to careful planning. That's how you might describe the father, the stepmother and the uncle in their role as torturers of their 10-year-old daughter, stepdaughter and niece respectively. Burning someone's naked arse with a red-hot iron, for instance, isn't the most obvious method of torture that comes to one's mind when one wishes to harm an innocent 10-year-old girl, one's daughter or stepdaughter or niece. It's an act that takes imagination, as I say. It's an act that should be carried out on the father, the stepmother and the uncle 50 times a day, every single day, for the rest of their f***ed-up lives as well. An effective but simple and low-cost way to stop the blood of your 10-year-old daughter dripping on everything when you're repeatedly pounding her in the face and head is, you've guessed it, to hood her head with a bag and stick the bag down with duct tape. With the spare packaging tape, because you don't need all of the 18 packets that you bought over a 9-day period in preparation for this particular session of torture against your stepdaughter, do you, stepmother? You of course tie your daughter's hands together behind her back to prevent her from defending herself in any way while you and the other 2 adults are beating her senseless. One imagines, as I've implied, that you prepared, in the way described, for this moment of brutality against your daughter, thanks to at least one previous occasion where you viciously battered your daughter's face and head. So annoying, isn't it, when you're beating your little girl black and blue and the blood goes and gets on everything, you evil bunch of fucking bastards. The buckle mark found somewhere on Sara's skin came from her having been whacked with a belt. If the father isn't the one who assaulted her in this particular way, which is what he claimed in court, then that just leaves us with two other potential culprits, as you know. There was blood from Sara on a vacuum cleaner, DNA from Sara on a rolling pin, and hair from Sara's head on some black rope. Her three torturers were notably innovative, you might recall. Well, actually, as for how some of Sara's hair came to be entangled in a piece of rope, ripping someone's hair out, which is what one or more of the three adults did, doesn't take much innovation really, I'd say. And again, your rolling pin is a common household object. Straightforward to think of, straightforward to pick up, straightforward to batter your 10-year-old daughter with. The burns on Sara's ankles were caused by her having been tied to heating pipes in the home by any one or more of the three adults. The burns elsewhere on her body, other than on her bottom, the burns there coming from what I related earlier, were caused by her having had boiling hot water thrown on her, again either by the father, the stepmother or the uncle, or by any two or more of them. The video that was shown to the jury, showing the father slapping his daughter round the face 3 times in a row, was recorded by the father himself. The father explained these 3 assaults as happy slaps. They were just a bit of play. The morning where Sara is reported by the stepmother to have fainted in the kitchen followed a night where the father had made her do sit-ups all night long as a punishment. Sara had hidden her father's keys where the cigarettes, whoever smoked them, were kept, and had to pay for that, obviously, by doing sit-ups for hours on end instead of sleeping. You know where the fracture to Sara's hyoid bone, also known as the tongue bone, came from. What you don't know is that the other fractures in Sara's neck bones, along with both the fractures to the fingers of her left hand and, I believe, the 2 injuries to Sara's brain, came from the repeated beatings inflicted on her by her father with a cricket bat. Now, to remind you, the father described slapping his daughter around the face 3 times in a row as play. Even if this statement didn't show up the father's lack of empathy for his daughter, and even if his cricket bat beatings of his daughter were the only acts of brutality of his against his daughter that we were aware of, by what he said in court about those very cricket bat beatings, we would be left in no doubt of the man's total inhumanity towards his daughter.
He also admitted causing fractures, including to her neck bone, by hitting Sara with a cricket bat. The dad added, "I take responsibility. I take full responsibility." Miss Carberry continued, "Do you accept that you killed her by beating her? Do you accept you had been beating Sara severely over a number of weeks? Do you accept using the cricket bat to beat her? Do you accept using the cricket bat as a weapon on her on a number of occasions? Do you accept that you used the cricket bat on her with force?" Sharif replied, "Yes, ma'am."
Now, when asked what happened, have you imagined her pain when she was hit with a bat? "I can't, sir," he said.
A drinker and a gambler, the father of Sara Sharif locked his 3 former Polish girlfriends in their rooms, smashed up their phones, took their bank cards and their passports off them, threatened to kill them, tried to strangle them with a belt, and bashed them up, of course. He bit the 1-month-old baby that one of these women had and beat up an older child that one of them had, leaving that child with all over bruising. He also burned that older child. I don't know if he was ever arrested specifically for his acts of violence against the baby and the older child that I've just mentioned, but his 3 arrests for his violence and his coercive control against his 3 ex-girlfriends, who were all substantially vulnerable in some important way when they met the man, led to nothing. He was never charged with any offence. The man met his girlfriends online. I don't know whether or not there were sufficient grounds to charge the man with any offences relating to domestic abuse, because yes, there could have been, and not charging someone for an offence, even when there is compelling evidence to do so, is something that police have, sadly, been known to do. If there was, and if he had been both charged and convicted, there's a chance, I think, that his 10-year-old daughter would still be here. Social services were involved in Sara Sharif's care even before Sara was born, that event coming on the 11th of January 2013. The marriage between Sara's parents, her mother, Olga, being the last of the father's 3 Polish girlfriends, only officially ended in 2015, some 6 years in. But from the moment she was born, Sara was shunted continuously between the care of her mother, who was an alcoholic by the way, and the care of her father, himself a drinker you might recall, with spells in foster care in between. I don't know exactly when the mother and father stopped living together, but I think it's safe to assume that it was at some point between the birth of Sara's brother, which came in 2010, and the birth of Sara herself. The reasons why, in 2019, a court switched custody of Sara and her brother over to the father, very much against the wishes of the mother, I'll add, I haven't been able to trace. I can confirm, even so, that having a new wife at this point, who showed the court her willingness to nurture and raise her husband's daughter in partnership with her husband, when in the father's favour. On the point of the stepmother, in Sara's RDER trial, the prosecution alleged that the father had been attracted to his new wife by the vulnerability that she held as a result of a previous abusive relationship. The father, as we know, likes a vulnerable woman. He denied what the prosecution alleged about why his new wife appealed to him, but then he fucking would. It looks like Sara's mother soon gave up trying to see her children when, despite her official entitlement to fortnightly visits to them, the father blocked her from seeing them every time she tried. As I mentioned earlier, she apparently didn't see her daughter for the last 4 years of her life. Seeing Sara in at least the last 2 years of Sara's life, and seeing in the process her daughter's constant and severe injuries, might have made all the difference to her daughter's life. In court, the jury was shown the string of WhatsApp messages from the stepmother to her 2 sisters, in which the stepmother complained about her husband's brutality against Sara. The neighbours of the stepmother who served as witnesses in the trial, however, said they only ever heard the children being smacked, shouted at and sworn at, and only heard the children screaming and crying when the stepmother was at home alone with them. I'll say now that, given how much of the brutality against Sara came from the father, this testimony doesn't make sense to me. Anyway though, now, given the welfare services that we have in this country, the stepmother's excuse for not taking the 6 children in the home and running away with them, which was the fact that she had no money of her own, is, as far as I'm personally concerned, no fucking excuse whatsoever. Remember also who bought all that fucking parcel tape to facilitate the torture that the stepmother, her husband and her brother-in-law planned to, and actually did, enact against Sara. You won't believe just how calm and composed the stepmother sounded when, only hours after Sara's unaliving, she called a travel agency to book flights to Pakistan for her family for the day after.
I'll leave as possible tomorrow.
And return?
Single.
Okay. And how many passengers will be traveling?
So, 4 adults and 4 kids.
So 8 people in total, yeah?
Yeah, so 4 adults and 4 kids.
How old are the kids?
So I have a 12-year-old. I think he's classified as an adult. I have a he's 13. Sorry, I have a 1-year-old, and I have 7-year-old twins, and I have 4-year-old.
Okay, 2 of them are 12 and 13, you said?
No, sorry, 13. And the twins are 7. And
okay, twins are 7. Okay, all right.
Yes.
Okay, so in short, 5 adults and 3 children then, right? Okay. Yeah, so here, ma'am, you have an option with Oman Air tomorrow night from Heathrow via Muscat to Islamabad.
What time?
8:50 at night, tomorrow night.
Is there anything in the morning?
Just a minute. There's a Gulf Airline flight tomorrow morning, ma'am, at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, what time?
10 o'clock in the morning, landing at 6:15 in the evening. There's a 5 hours and 50 minutes waiting there, and then you reach the next day morning at 5:35.
How long does it take?
5 hours and 50 minutes.
Yeah. Is there anything shorter?
Just a minute. There's an Etihad Airways, ma'am, available with a shorter waiting.
How much?
That is departing at 9:30 in the morning, landing at 7:35 in Abu Dhabi, connecting at 11 o'clock, and reaches by 3:25 early morning in Islamabad.
Is it possible you can send me these details, please, on my email? And how much is it?
Ma'am, Etihad is costing £798 a person.
4,000?
No, £798 per person for the adult.
Okay, yep, that's fine. So, can you send me over the details and I'll call you over to book them now?
Which one? The Etihad one? Okay, just a minute.
Sorry?
The Etihad Airways one, right?
Yeah, you know the one that's going in the morning?
Just a minute. Can you just stay online?
Yeah.
When, on the 5th or 6th of September 2023, the stepmother sent Sky News a video message about what happened to Sara and why the family had fled to Pakistan straight after, she refers to Sara's death as, quote, an incident, unquote.
Firstly, I would like to talk about Sara. Sara's death was an incident. Our family in Pakistan are severely affected by all that is going on. All the media have been giving wrong statements and making up lies. Imran did not give a statement that Sara fell down the stairs and broke her neck. This was spread through a Pakistani media outlet. I am very worried about Imran's safety. All of our family members have gone into hiding as everyone is scared for their safety. The kids are unable to attend school as they are afraid to leave the house. No one is leaving the house. The groceries have run out and there is no food for the kids as the adults are unable to leave their homes out of fear of safety. That is why we have gone into hiding. Lastly, we are willing to cooperate with the UK authorities and fight our case in court.
She doesn't sound even remotely emotional when she references her stepdaughter, acting rather as if the rest of the family are the victims. So casual and calm again. And don't tell us that your stepdaughter's death is an incident. Every death is an incident. But not every death, thankfully, is an unaliving. The prosecution claimed that the stepmother's WhatsApp messages to her sisters were evidence of nothing more than the stepmother's foresight. Knowing that she could well end up in court at some point over Sara's devastating mistreatment, the stepmother set up a case for her innocence in advance. Ha! You don't fool anyone, you bastard. If you were aware, before seeing the video from the stepmother about what happened to Sara, of the note that the father left next to his daughter's corpse before fleeing with his family to Pakistan, you wouldn't have been surprised to see the father sitting silently in the background in the said video, letting his wife speak up for them both. The note from the father said, quote, "Whoever sees this, it's me, Urfan Sharif, who killed my daughter by beating. I'm running away because I'm scared, but I promise that I will hand over myself and take punishment. I swear to God that my intention wasn't to kill her, but I lost it. My daughter is Muslim. Can you bury her in a Muslim way? I will be back before you finish the post-mortem," unquote. How the fuck would the father have known when the post-mortem would be carried out, the stupid fucker? Given, in addition, the family's having run away at the point when the note was found by the police, it's not as if the father's fuck-up cowardice was in any sort of doubt. He didn't need to announce that in his fuck-up stupid note. And, as if unaliving his own daughter wasn't, in and of itself, a thoroughly horrendous offence of the father against his daughter, in the note that he left for the police, the father added insult to injury against her. The cover page that he placed on top of the note said, quote, "I love you, Sara," unquote. The father's sobby and snivelling phone call to the police that he made from Pakistan on the 10th of August 2023, in which he confessed what he'd done to Sara, lasted approximately 8.5 minutes, and police began their raid of the family home no more than 10 minutes after the phone call ended.
Who's killed your daughter?
It's me.
Okay.
Father. Hello.
Hello, I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm still here.
Can you send someone there and left I left my front door keys under the front mat.
Okay.
My daughter is dead. Panic. I left her.
Who's killed your daughter?
It's me.
Okay.
Father.
How?
I said she was naughty and physically chastised.
I'm going to need you to slow down, okay? How have you killed your daughter?
I beat her up. It wasn't my intention to kill her, but I beat her up too much.
What is your name?
My name is Urfan Sharif.
Can you spell that for me?
It's U for umbrella, R for Romeo,
Yep.
A for Friday, A for Alpha, and for November.
Sorry, you are?
F-A-N.
Okay, second name, please.
Sharif, S for Sugar, H for Hotel, A for Alpha, R for Romeo, I for Indigo, F for Freddy.
What is your daughter's name?
Sara Sharif.
Okay, I need you to slow down. Okay, how do you spell your daughter's name?
S-A-R-A.
S-A-R-A.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh. And Sharif's surname S-H-A-R-I-S.
Happens. What led to this all happening?
Actually, she was naughty over the last 3-4 weeks, and I was giving her punishment that she to sort her out. And yes, I did something and she died.
Was she breathing when you left?
No, she was not. I tried to resuscitate her, tried to give her CPR, everything, but I failed. I left in panic.
Okay. Was she bleeding anywhere?
No.
Okay.
She's dead, I'm telling you.
What injuries did she sustain? How long ago was this? How long ago? When did this happen? I need you to listen to me, okay? When did this happen?
About 36 hours ago.
This happened 36 hours ago?
Yes. I'm a cruel father.
Where are you right now?
I'm not around. I'm going to come back.
So you're driving right now? Sorry, what car are you in right now? If you're not driving your car?
I'm in someone else's car. Please, I'll come back. Could you please send someone there?
No, don't worry. We are already deployed. This is not slowing any of this down, okay? Whose car are you in?
I'm in someone else's car.
Whose car are you in, though?
In someone else's car. Please, I'll come.
Is anyone else at the home with your daughter?
No.
Running away to Pakistan after Sara's unaliving, then calling the police to report Sara's unaliving, and then following that up less than 3 weeks later with a video that you sent to a news network explaining your decision to flee. And then telling the police that you think that you are who they're looking for when, the second you land at Gatwick Airport on the 13th of September 2023, which you do in line with your promise to return to the UK to face trial for Sara's unaliving, you see them enter the plane. Between the father, the stepmother and the uncle you see, those are the steps that the 3 adults took after Sara's unaliving. So what was the point of running away in the first place then? Why not just have handed yourselves into the police straight after your horrendous act? The idea that your children can't be taken into care in the UK if they're over in Pakistan just isn't a guaranteed fact. But of course, you felt you had to at least try to prevent that eventuality. This, many are saying, is the reason for the decision of the father, the stepmother and the uncle to flee with the remaining children to Pakistan the day after the father took his daughter's life. As at November 2024, it's believed that the children remain in the care of their paternal grandfather in Pakistan. Oh, what 10-year-old Sara Sharif suffered. If this video has gripped you, I recommend you to watch this one next. I'll meet you there.